Thank you, Harsha. Good evening, everyone. And it's been a pleasure being here. And thank you, Indo US Rare, Harsha, and Nisha for inviting me to this wonderful panel. I have been knowing Harsha for quite some time, and he's one of the many parents who have inspired me to be on this journey for rare diseases. And it's just not my career, but it has also turned into my passion. And I'm here to do public health to understand how to expand the public health space into rare diseases. Prior to that, I have been working in India for rare disease, largely into the policy research space. And since I thought this to be more of a panel discussion. What I put up as slide is more of my work, just to give an overview of the kind of work I have been trying to do so far and what I look forward in doing. So I start with my affiliations. Presently I am a MPH candidate at Johns Hopkins, but I also continue being a health policy researcher at the Center for Policy Research, Indian Institute of Science, and I collaborate as an honorary associate with the Institute of Public Health in the public health workspace for rare disease in India. My work has been largely to generate evidence for rare disease policy. In that, what I have been trying to, when I began in 2017, the basics of it, who are the stakeholders in rare diseases, who are the patient, where are the patients, who are the clinicians who serve these patients, weren't very clear to most of the people who were already in the space as well. So as my journey started, what I thought of doing was to map the environment, which was a basic kind of need that I thought, and which was not documented in any form as a academic evidence or even as a common knowledge document in India. So my work started in identifying who are the key stakeholders, what roles they play, what is the power interest dynamics that is playing in the field, and then trying to use that information to generate evidence and awareness among the public. So what are the key public policies? The next step was to strengthen the ecosystem to try and find out what are the key public health policies, what are the drugs available for rare diseases in India, and what is the readiness level of different states, because in India, healthcare is a state subject. Although nationally we have some programs, but the implementation lies in the hands of states. So it is important to understand how different, and in India, different states are at different level of healthcare delivery preparedness. So it was important to understand how they are functioning. And also all the information that I get goes into the process of knowledge, and which is disseminated back to the stakeholders who are part of my study. So to begin with, the different policy interventions that exist in India for rare diseases. 2017, the first national policy for treatment of rare diseases came out, which was again put into abeyance in 2018 due to various discord that existed between different stakeholders. Next, in 2019, there was a landmark change which came with the new drug and clinical trials rule, which created very important three rules for the first time in the new drug in clinical trial rules in India. And of which a very important statement was also that this was the first policy to describe rare disease in India. Although officially it is not taken as the definition of rare disease in India, but it is the only policy which has defined rare diseases in certain terms, where it says that any diseases which affects less than 5 lakh persons in India could be defined as a rare diseases. But this is largely used to define orphan drugs and not rare diseases so far. Then next came another landmark change with the Right of Persons with Disability Act, where a couple of rare diseases which did not include visibly clear symptoms as well, those were also included, like the chronic neurological disorders, etc., and blood disorders were identified as disabilities in this act. Then 2017, again, Rehabilitation Act also identified a couple of rare diseases in their registries, so which was again a landmark change. And finally, 2021, the policy which was put in abeyance in 2018 was resurrected and brought back to action in 2021. So now that we have is a national policy for rare diseases, which we are looking forward for implementation. So in my work, I'm presenting a couple of the published work that have come up so far. So in initial stage, what I did was understand the role of some amazing patient organizations that were there in India and that have been functioning till now. In that, Indo-US Rare was as well covered, and many other organizations. What we found was that there were disease-specific organizations as well as umbrella organizations. Umbrella organizations were few, which covered pan diseases, but we covered 19 disease-specific organizations which were functioning across India, across different states, and the kind of changes that have brought was amazing to observe. However, many of the changes or many of their achievements were not known to the larger public. So this work was important in that form to document their journey and their achievements and to inspire other patient organizations who were in the journey to look for the process of growing up as an organization and contribute to the space. Next, what we covered was the orphan medicinal product industry, where we identified small and big industry organizations, labs who had any product or organization in for rare diseases. In that, we found many organizations. There could be some who had just products such as food products, which supported the IEM's diseases. And there were some specialized mobility devices, as well as some of the products were under clinical development for some of the rare diseases, targeted therapies as well. In another study, we documented the lack of participation of Indian patients in orphan drug clinical trials, where we found only 9 trials which had any enrollment from India. For all of the clinical trials that were ongoing or have been done till 2022 for rare diseases, only 9 trials had some form of enrollment from India, which accounted for less than 1%. And then we had also a survey of rare disease awareness among the clinicians. Sorry, I just skipped the slides. Then my work has been trying to understand the public health programs in India, which could be expanded to rare diseases. In that, we started with the National Health Mission programs. In National Health Mission programs, we identified all the programs which catered to maternal and child health care programs, which had components which could be expanded to rare diseases. The one that we found most important was Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram, the RBSK program, which is basically the child healthcare program. And we saw that there were components of screening, newborn screening throughout the adolescent period till 18 years of age, which could which was designed to cater to larger common diseases, which affect larger population, of course, how public health programs are generally designed. But there were components which we identified and we recommended that could be easily expanded to rare diseases as well. Taking this forward, we got an international grant from the Network for Governmental Science Advice, where we tried to take the study and the findings of the RBSK program to the ground, and where we started working with the ASHA, ANM, Anganwadi, the public health grassroots level workers, and trying to understand how we can actually implement the diseases that we identified that could be taken to the rural areas in terms of identification and inclusion in newborn diseases. So this part of the work still continues, which has just started, and we are looking forward. We are in the process of getting a couple of grants, through which we plan to expand it to some rural areas and start our pilot project very soon. Other than that, in terms of global rare disease policy space, we identified discrepancies in FDA documents and clinical trial document gov. And this was a study which started in terms of identifying and understanding the clinical trial space of rare diseases. But in the process, we identified many discrepancies that existed in clinicaltrials.gov and the FDA document which were regulated. We reported that this studies got quite a lot of attention. because of the importance of the small patient size and the difficulty in conducting clinical trial, and which requires that the reporting has to be done very efficiently and accurately. So this was another part of the work. And the recent work which got quite attention was identifying all the repurposed orphan drugs available in India. We focused on the small molecules in this, and we identified that almost 70% of the drugs were actually available in India. In terms of, so what we identified was FDA approved repurposed orphan drugs, which are available in India, which are approved by CDSCO, which are available in one of the clinical trial approval sites or the drug approval site in India. What we found was that 170 drugs are actually listed out of the 279 that we studied are actually listed in CDSCO, and remaining another around 42 drugs were present in other drug approval websites. And we also mentioned, we identified different regulatory pathways through which the remaining drugs which were not documented in India till now could be easily identified and have access to Indian patients. So this, with this work, we really look forward that some of the diseases which are claimed to not have any drugs in India actually have approved drugs. But the only thing is that connecting the missing lines maybe where the drugs are it's not like the it is due to lack of awareness maybe, or lack of medical evidence, that people are not aware that these drugs are already available or have effectiveness in some of the rare diseases which are already identified in India. So yeah, with that, I'll close my introduction here and look forward to the panel.